live one more time with the High Priestess Phoenix. I am your spiritual healer, teacher, shaman, seer, oracle, lightworker, starseed, earth angel, mystic, medium, psychic, witch, yogi, guru, messenger of God, evangelist, North American Sybil, messenger of God, child of God, the Lilith, reincarnated, here on another one. What do you got for them? I was right in the middle of reading something, and they're like, get on with it. What the fuck was I reading? Well, I don't really know. I couldn't tell you. Let me see what the fuck this is. It's a chapter of witchcraft in the dark arts book. But that's not really... I mean, I wasn't looking for anything to teach you about witchcraft. We have other things to teach. But then this came up. It just came up, and I started reading. I was like, what am I looking at? And as I started reading it, more and more needed to come out. In order to keep up with this teaching, you're going to have to catch the earlier video of where we unleash the princes and dukes of hell. Okay? I'm just jumping completely into this. That's all I did was I started reading and I was like, uh-oh. The Norse witches were supposed to meet and hold high revel on the eve of the 1st of May, right? So that was Beltane. We talked about that earlier. Beltane started all this. The Salic law of Charlemagne says that if a man is accused of having carried a cauldron to a place where witches meet, it cannot be proved. The salamander must pay a fine. Okay, it says the salander. Okay. It was accepted that witches were cannibals. If a witch is found guilty of eating a man, the Salic law says she shall be fined, but 3 times as much as the salander. If the witches ate people as often as they were thought to do, which seems unlikely, it may have been the result of the magical theory that man's life energy can be acquired by eating him. All right, where did this come from? That fucking cracker over there. Where's the cracker? Oh, you can't see it. Cracker. Christianity. What the fuck do you guys say all the time? I eat of his flesh and I drink of his blood. Is that not what you call communion? You're communing with the Spirit, a visualization of eating his flesh and drinking his blood. Okay, that's why God brought this up. Now, witches are associated by the Greek and Romans with darkness and death, with night and moon, the mistress of night and the beings who ruled the dead. Okay? The divine patron of witchcraft was not a horned god, but a goddess, Selene, or Hecate, or Diana, all of whom were moon goddesses. Hecate, who came originally from Asia Minor, was the goddess most often invoked by witches and magicians. And I told you, we've been in my Hecate energy. I went from Persephone into Hecate, which Hecate was the guide to Persephone. It's a whole thing. She was threefold, representing the 3 heads or 3 bodies linked with the 3 phases of the moon, new, full, and old. They identified as Luna, the moon, in the sky, Diana on earth, and Proserpine, or Persephone, in the underworld. She ruled ghosts, night, and darkness, tombs, dogs, blood, and terror. She was also the goddess of the crossroads, legions of ghosts, who were believed to follow her as she roamed grimly through the night, and offerings of food used to be left at the crossroads for the ghosts. I've done many of the crossroad rituals, and that's what I do my offerings for, is for the animals. Cynics and unprincipled persons sometimes ate these offerings. Hecate herself seems to have been forgotten in early Christian times, but memories of her as Diana survived. In the 6th century, Saint Caesarus of Aurelius expelled the demon who peasants called Diana from the tormented girl. In 1318, Pope John the 22nd, ordering the investigation of a group of magicians in his court, said that they copullated this demoness called Diana. Tales of the wandering ghosts and her feast at the crossroads are also survived. In the early Middle Ages, there were various stories in the circulation about hordes of night-flying demons and dead souls. Diana was connected with these, and belief grew up in that the mortals could ride with her at night. It has also been omitted that some wicked women, perverted by the devil, seduced by illusion and phantasmas of demons, believed and professed themselves in the hours of night right upon certain beasts with Diana, the goddess of the pagans, and the innumerable multitudes of women, and the silence of the dead of night, to traverse great spaces on earth, and to obey her commands to the mistress to be summoned to the service on certain nights. Okay. Goes into some more cannibalism. Children were eaten. These stories were based on the beliefs of Hecate, Diana, and demons and ghosts, which loved to suck human blood, were repeated and widely believed. They probably lived behind the accusations made against Cathars and witches that flew in their meetings, or animals, or broomsticks. All right, the flying ointment. Where are we talking about? Just try to keep up with me. There was something I was getting on with this. It went back there. I started in a couple other places of this. So again, all of the witches, I want you to understand this. Anybody that's a dark practitioner, right? They pray to, I'm getting to it right here, the devil, or a devil. We described earlier in my earlier videos what the devil was. Description of the Sabbath confessions reproduced many allegations which made earlier against devil worshipping secret. All right, let's see. Here's a good one. The words spoken by the priest in Mass transformed the bread and wine into the blood and body of Christ, and is eaten in the body, and the worshippers became one with Christ. But the heretics believed themselves to be a direct touch with God, without needing the intervention of the church, the priest, and the consecrated host. Disrespecting the, I don't know what they're called, for example, by heretics who said that the hosts taste to them like dung, turned to Satanism, to positive hatred of the body, blah, blah, blah. And that's what I told you. These are all witchcraft practices. I was just kind of running through this. The renouncing of God, renouncing the God of the Christians, the witches took the devil for their God. According to somebody, the initiated witch said to the devil, I put myself wholly in thy power and in thy hands, recognizing no other God, for thou art my God. Angus Wobster of Aberdeen, tried in 1596, was accused of calling Satan her God. Then it goes on to more stories. References for the devil as creator and master suggest belief that the world had made and it's ruled by the devil. God being far away from attraction of the witch region seems to have been the fact that God was visibly present at the Sabbath, incarnated in a man or animal, in contrast to Christ, who had been taken up to heaven. The witches themselves apparently refer to their God as the devil of Christianity, Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, Belial, Astaroth, Asmodeus, and Mammon. Right? Those are all the people we talked about earlier. These are all these so-called devils and all of this shit. It's like, what is all this? It starts to tell you where they created this. Where's this? What's it talking about? Azrael. The connection between the Watchers, evil, and the goat was implied in the Jewish scapegoat ritual. In Leviticus, where the ritual was described, Aaron is told to select a goat for Azazel, and is to place both hands of the head of the goat and confess over him all the iniquities of the children of Israel, and then transgressions and all their sins, putting them upon the head of the goat, and they shall send him away by hand of the fit. Okay, let me explain this too. This was God's commands. God commanded, here it goes back to Mars and shit. God commanded, you have to read the Old Covenant. You have to read the first Testament, the Old Testament. It was so. Sacrifices had to be made. When Jesus came, he gave them the perfect lamb. He was the ultimate sacrifice, human, whatever, the perfect lamb, so that no sacrifices. He would place all, just as they told him back in this time, to place the sins, the iniquities of the children of Israel. Jesus took the sins of all, before and all to come. He sacrificed it, meaning God followed his own rules and broke his own rules. He satisfied his own rules through Jesus. But they didn't believe that. People continued to do their own practices. They stuck in the old ways. They didn't accept Jesus as the actual offering. So now, in Catholicism and all the rest of them, they tell you you're not worthy because you don't accept the word and blah 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 blah. And you need to practice the old ways, the orthodox ways of the prophets. They'll push Moses on you. They push Abraham. They push all of this on you. It's not that they weren't of all power, but they will not submit the power to the new God. And which is stupid because the new God gave us all freedom. That's what they didn't want to give you. You weren't allowed their freedom. Man stood in the way. Man decided that no, they would not allow the freedom of Jesus to be spread. But here we are, 26,000 years, or all these years later, spreading the freedom. Freedom. Anyway, so that's how this all goes. The scapegoat ritual tend to connect with the goat, which bore the sins of people, all impurity and evil. Through the link of Azrael in the connection of the goat and the devil and the fallen angels in St. Matthew's Gospel, Jesus says that he will come in glory and divide all the people, as a shepherd divideth his sheep from his goats. The goats are the wicked, who will be casted into the everlasting fire prepared for the devil and his angels. Who's coming to get you? I told you, there's no such thing as the devil. They called the fallen the devil. They're all coming to get you. It's all in earlier's video. Azazel is the leader of the watchers who lusted after the daughters of men, and who also is the chief serum of the goat demons. And that's what you all guys try to be, right? The goat, greatest of the world. No lie. All right, well, you marked yourself. Every time you said you were a goat, you were no longer a sheep. Who had mentioned several times in the Old Testament, were worshipped by some of the Jews. Somebody appointed priests for the Josiah destroyed the place of their worship. Just as the watchers took mortal women for wives, so the cult of the Serum seems to have involved the copulation of women with goats. And we talked about that earlier. We talked about all of these stories. The God slept with. That's how Mother Mary gave birth to Jesus. They called it an immaculate conception because they didn't see a man, but she slept with the Spirit. Do you know how babies are made? Seriously, there's one way in and one way out, bro. It really happened. And that's how it was. That's how all the demigods were born. That's how I go back to, that's what happened with Cain, Lucifer sleeping with fucking Adam, or with Eve, and that's how the story that I told earlier about me sleeping with Adam. I shall kill 1,000 of your children every day. Well, now you guys are all here, and you're all wicked, and I'm trying to get you out of here before he comes to kill you. In essence, we all die, but that's not what he's asking. That's not what he said for you. Neither shall any woman stand before the beast to lie therefore, blah, 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 blah. And that's it. You have the mark of the beast. What is it? The goat? I guess. And then it goes on to all this bullshit about the devil, evildoers, archbishop. Haha. Fun shit. In the essence of, what are we talking about? Let me get the Bible out. Do we want the easy version or the hard version? It doesn't really matter. You're not going to accept it anyways. You have been rejecting the word of Christ for all these years and so on and so forth. Do you like the new setup? Yeah, we had to bring all of me plus all of them. We need to weigh this out a little bit. All right, let's see here. Where are we going into? Revelations chapter 9 is what I heard earlier. Oh, damn, the page is already turned down. Turned down for what? Holy Spirit, you're hilarious. Really. Oh, shit, on page 551. Oh, scary. All right, the fifth angel trumpet, and I saw a star plummet from the heaven to earth. The star was handed a key to the well of the abyss. He unlocked the well of the abyss. Smoke poured out of the well. Billows and billows of smoke, sun and air and black out from the smoke pouring out of the well. Then out of the smoke crawled the locusts with the venom of all scorpions. Is that the full moon in Scorpio? They were given their orders, do not hurt the grass and the women, and only those who lack the seal of God on their forehead. What I tell you, nobody has to worry. That's covered in, in the blood of Christ. The rest of you, ooh, slice and dice. They were ordered to torture, but not kill. Torture them for 5 months. How long is Pluto retrograde? From May to October. Let's do it. May, June, July, August, September, October. You guys think it's a joke. I mean, I wish it was. It's called The Divine Comedy, but the only thing funny is that you're going to die. No, you know what's not funny is I live. The rest of us have to watch you guys burn in hell. It's pretty terrible to watch, but we signed up for it. We said we wanted to see this. I'm enjoying it. Are you enjoying it? Wait, there's much to come. All right, here we go. For 5 months, they were ordered to torture but not kill. Torture them for 5 months. The pain like a scorpion sting. I just want to point out that Pluto is half of Scorpio. And what happens in October? The balancing. It comes back when? October 13th. So you'll be balanced only to go right back into Scorpio season. Sorry, I'm such a cunt. I enjoy my job. Do you? When this happens, people are going to prefer death to torture, looking for ways to kill themselves. I told you. I told you how. I told you all of this is going to happen inside of you. Why? The darkness from within. Your demons are going to eat you up, and if you don't have the mentality, you'll end up killing yourself. I told you, the mental illness. But they won't find a way. Death will have gone into hiding. You don't get to. I told you. There's no way out of this. I told that to Russ. Neither one of us get to die out of this one. The locusts looked like horses ready for war. They had golden crowns, human faces, war hair, and teeth of lions. Iron breastplates. The sound of their wings was like the sound of horses drawing chariots, charging into battle. Their tails were equipped with strings like scorpion tails. You're like, you planned this. I didn't plan shit, bro. God did. When are you going to get on track? Jesus, I didn't write these books. I don't read this. Where did you get chapter 9? From earlier reading, they told us where we were, and I laughed in your face then. They had a king over them, the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, in Greek, Apollyon, the destroyer. The first doom has passed. 2 dooms yet to come. The 6th angel trumpet, and I heard a voice speaking to the 6th angel from the horns of the golden altar before God. Was that me? Was that my horns before my golden altar? Ha ha! Let the 4 angels loose. The angels confirmed the great river Ephrodite. The 4 angels were united and let loose. 4 angels, all prepared for the exact year, month, day, and even hour when they were to kill 1/3 of the human race. Bow, bow, bow! When's that happen? Well, I mean, I'm not supposed to tell you all the goodness, but I mean, do the math. It's true. 1/3 of the human race. The number of the army of the horsemen was twice 10,000 times 10,000. I heard the count and saw both horses riding in my vision. And that's what I just posted. You and what army? Ha ha! Fiery breastplates on the riders, lions' heads, and horses breathing out fire and smoke and brimstone. With these 3 weapons, fire and smoke and brimstone, they killed 1/3 of the human race. The horses killed with their mouths and their tails. Their serpents, like tails, also had heads that wreaked havoc. The remaining men and women who weren't killed by these weapons went on their merry way, didn't change their ways of life, didn't quit worshiping demons, didn't quit centering their lives around lumps of gold and silver and brass, hunks of stone and wood that wouldn't see or hear or move. There wasn't a sign of change of heart. They plunged right into their murderous, occultist, promiscuous, and thieving ways. Bow, bow, bow. I don't know. That's why I don't read this. Because inevitable, when you read the Bible, it's supposed to put fear in your heart. Reverence for God and fear in your heart. Do we have proof of these times? I think we do. They always believed they were come. They waited for these times. Please, God, end the time so we can begin the new time. Let's talk about the new beginnings. Moving on to the Melchizedek. Now, I told you on chapter 9 we would be reading this. I don't know. It tells about his story and blah, blah, blah. I'm just seeing if any of this is important or we could just move on. The concept of Adam and Eve being thrown out of the garden because they had sinned is just cold sort of mythology. You can have an idea that you are not of God, which of course is not true, but you can have the idea if you so choose. You can be separate. God would...
Stop touching my stuff. I'm done with it.
Hold on a second. What?
Move.
Don't touch him. Don't touch him. What, baby? Don't scream at me. I'm on
He's broken
live.
every single thing I've had.
Give me a minute, please, guys. Alright. The fire within. My son likes to touch people's stuff and break it. He didn't break it this time, but she's telling him not to fucking touch her stuff. And he does. He's just reckless. He breaks everything. 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 Everything, dude. Everything he touches. Matter of fact, did you ask me if you could use my headphones? Because you break my stuff. Everything. He just does. And he doesn't feel sorry for it when he does it. He doesn't even care. And so I had to, tell him to back the fuck off for her stuff. Alright, going back to this, Adam and Eve were casted out because of sin, right? So they tell you that you can't get back to God because you're unworthy because of your sin. Jesus said your sin was forgiven, but they won't allow you to be forgiven. They want to keep torturing you. They want to keep hanging you for your mistakes. More or less, they want you to come to the altar, confess your sins to the group, and let the group hang you too. Jesus said no such thing. Why did Adam and Eve leave? Guilt, shame, regret, blame. Period. You can have that idea that you are not of God, which of course is not true. But you can have the idea that if you choose, you can be separate. God would of itself come into all of those realities that these thought forms create, not in violation of your free will, nor in the thought form, but by joining in the thought, and that's where I got to stop right here. Going into witchcraft, going into Hinduism, going into, Judaism, going into Muslims, going into all these places. Christianity has told them that they're not welcome by Jesus, that Jesus doesn't accept them too. Or their leaders have said this. I don't give a shit who told you this lie. This salvation is for all who accept this message. The religious wars were about this, about power. Whose God could get you to heaven? They didn't want to accept that one man who walked the earth had the power and one message to set everybody free. Let alone did they want you to think that you had that same power within you. But that's all he said. That God lives within you. There will be a day will you not run to this mountain nor the other to worship God. You will not run to those temples. You will not follow those laws. You will walk in the spirit of his promises. And there is no law that can stop you from doing such things. When you walk in the fruit of the spirits, the laws and the limitations of this world must bow. Period. But they choose to tell you that you're not worthy and that you must jump all kinds of feats, go, walk through all kinds of shit. Jump through their, through their their hoops and through all of this and still not be fitting. And they tell you to do such and they don't follow the same rules. Imagine, a priest who, as a child, he's persecuted under the judgment of God. You must live this way by God to be right by God. Then he grows up and he becomes that preacher that tells everybody that you must grow up and you must live like this. And if you don't live like this, you won't inherit God. And then he sees people like us, sinners like us, inherit God's message and we're free. Nobody will allow Ted Bundy to be in heaven, but he's there. Mr. Plum couldn't allow Miss Fry, an honest Christian woman, because she attended a Baptist church. She's not allowed to go. Because of who? He doesn't believe that. He was told that. By who? The elders of his church. He's been told that every fucking twice a week, 3 times a week, because he goes to Bible study and two church services for at least the last 45 years. Pray for them. They're not going to heaven. That's not any of what he said, guys. And that's where it is, Scary Larry on the corner that's standing with that fucking John 3:16, turn from your ways and shit like that. He tries to tell me that I'm going to a place where God isn't. There's no place. God rules over all, and those are his children. He will burn this flock, your whole church, down looking for them, the ones you lied to and said couldn't have him. All of you that stand before his children, he's going to burn to the fucking ground. You lied to them. They've been lost because of you. They have fallen. They've been hurt and they've suffered because of your false teachings. You know no God if you treat God's children in such a way. And you do. You turn them away left and right because of all different reasons. Skin tone, sex, religion, race, culture, anything. If you can't conform them to fit into a peg in your pew, then it's pew pew for them, right? He's going to burn you all down, 1/3 of the population, which is all of you false believers and teachers that stood on your high thrones and persecuted in the name of Christ. That sat there and told other people that they were unworthy when you yourself didn't even wear the blood. Watch them be covered and watch you burn your legacies, your children, your whole everything. The non-believers, the meek shall inherit the earth. Those that you told were unworthy are the chosen. And yet you chose to put yourself above them. Who? God's children. Pick one. They're all his children. Jesus came for all of them. He didn't go to your stupid churches. He took your church down. He destroyed your God and your churches. And he set all of us free. And there's never been a power more powerful than him. Why does this witch always win? Because I'm covered in the blood of Christ. There's nothing more powerful. All you have to do is claim it for yourself and walk in it. Walk in his words. Take off your flesh. Or die to it, like the rest of them. It's pretty simplistic. Most people I meet on the earth plane don't love themselves. They don't believe that they are worthy of being loved. They have and having love or express love, and they create accordingly. This is not truth, but it is their truth. So home is choosing to love yourself unconditionally without any reservation whatsoever. Reservations are conditions, and Melchizedek's job and the job of the other Christed beings is to encourage us to embrace the idea that to be equal with God is not a sin, it is a responsibility. As a created being, you are responsible for everything you think, feel, say, or do, because you are expressing yourself into the universe. That's like throwing a stone into a still pond. You get a splash with waves and ripples. There is a reaction for every one of your actions, even if you don't act in them. Your thoughts are creating your reality. So, too, every impulse that you imagine affects the entire universe. God is not permitted of itself to come into your reality without your permission. But you have the ability to choose union with God at any time, and it is instantaneously granted to you by God itself. If you choose. And what did Jesus say? Say out of your mouth. that he is the living God and you receive this God, ask him for forgiveness and be baptized in the waters of your sins. Follow the 10 Commandments and most everything. The biggest rule above all rules, treat every human being as a child of him, as his child, as a child of God. They say treat everyone like you would be treated, but you treat yourself like shit. And that's why it's more important to see them as a child and treat them as a child. They are God's children. Follow those rules. That's it. It's so basic to be a child of God. And to inherit his promises is just trust and faith. Believe in what he said. It's so simplistic, but they didn't want it to be that easy for you because they didn't get it that easy. They had to work hard, and they think that if they have to do all this, they can buy their way into heaven, and they expect you to pay the price too. Jesus paid the price, bro. But they want you to pay for your sins. It's the law and the cause and effect, and constant. Some people call that grace. Others but there's only love, and you can choose to not be loved. If you change your mind, it's different. It's a different reality. It's a greater reality. So home is where the heart is, where God is. Home is where unconditional love resides. That is unconditional love. Okay, I want to stop right here. They say that we're devil worshippers because we do divinatory, because I'm a pagan. I pray to other gods, so I'm a devil worshipper. I do magic, so I'm a devil worshipper. I speak to the dead, so I'm a devil worshipper. Okay? So, in essence, you don't get the glory of God. You get no grace of God, no protection. You are outside of God's kingdom. Okay, fine. There's our devil worshippers. Now you sinners. They say if you have sex out of marriage, you're a sinner. If you lie, cheat, steal, covet, any of those things. If you're gluttonous, if you're envious, if you're greedy, if you're too prideful, all those things keep you out of the graces of God. And because of those ways, you shall never go to heaven. All right. How does this all put together? Are you not all those things that they say is ungodly? Am I praying to the devil in all of this? Have you seen me pull a devil yet? Did I show you that Lucifer has no power and that was, again, God's angel? Did I show you all the fallen angels that you call devils? All the demons and the powers that they have? Were they not created by God too? Do they have dominion over you? Do they have power over you? Does anybody or anything, and as we said, God cannot force himself onto your free will. What spirit could if God can't put his spirit upon you? Okay, going back to eating Jesus' flesh and drinking his blood. No, that's not how you get closer to Christ. Okay? Witchcraft, totally. There's a lot of Christianity that's built on pagan, Wiccan ways because they knew that there was power below it. Okay, behind it. Now, all of that. Jesus had the ability to rise the dead. He had the ability to cure all ailments, to cast out demons, to do all things. He was a master manifester, an alchemist, a healer, all of these things that I teach you. I teach you that all these powers lie within you and how to activate them. What stands in your powers? In between you and your powers? Your flesh, which is what? Your ego, your brain, what it's been taught. They told you what is right and wrong, and you still live by their laws. Jesus allowed you to be a free spirit away from their laws. Don't get me wrong, I'm a law-abiding citizen in the sense of I don't do bad stuff. Those laws were created for people that didn't know the difference between good and bad. You know what I mean? I don't do bad stuff, but I don't submit to the patriarchy. You know what I mean? In the sense of, going back to all of this, is he said, I guess they want me to read it. Let me get the Bible back out. There's lots of Bible verses that people live by. Mine is Galatians 5:19 through 23. I'm going to read it to you. We were in Romans. That's why this is coming up. Ephesians. Hold on. Sorry. I could bring it out of this other book, because these are all the these, thous, and those. Let me get it in this one. Sorry, my bad. Galatians 5. Here we go. It is obvious what kind of lives develop out of trying to get your own way all the time. Repetitive, loveless, cheap sex, a stinking accumulation of mental and emotional garbage, frenzied and joyless grabs for happiness, trinket gods, magic show religions, paranoid loneliness, cutthroat competition, all-consuming yet never satisfying wants, a brutal temper, impotence to love or be loved, divided homes and divided lives, small-minded and lopsided pursuits, the vicious habits of depersonalizing everyone into a rival, uncontrolled and uncontrollable addictions, ugly paradise of community, and I could go on. This isn't the first time I've warned you, you know. If you use your freedom this way, you will not inherit God's kingdom. But what happens when we live God's way? He brings gifts into our lives, much the same way the fruit appears in the orchard. Like affection for others, exuberance about life, serenity. We develop a willingness to stick with things, a sense of compassion in the heart, a conviction that basic holiness permits all things and people. We find ourselves involved in loyal commitments, not needing to force our way in life, able to marshal and direct our energies wisely. Okay, that's how it says in there. I'm going to read it over here. It's the Songs of Solomon. Not right now. You'd have to catch my earlier video. Anyways, Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanliness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousy, outbursts of wrath, selfish ambitions, dissension, and heresies, envy, murder, drunkenness, rivalries, and the likeness of which I tell you beforehand, just as I told you in a time past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Against such there are no laws. And those who are Christed have crucified their flesh with its passions and desires. We sacrifice our passions and our desires for a better world. The churches don't tell you not to get an iPhone. They don't tell you to stop fucking going after material success. They don't tell you to make such sacrifices. If we live in the Spirit, let's also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. I talked about that earlier. So all of those so-called devils, your own devils and demons, are about to bring all of this up. And you're going to have to overcome it. With what? A good spirit, the Spirit of Christ. To the rest of you, they don't have to have known the words of Christ to be Christed. It's a spirit that they walk in of goodness, kindness, love, joy. You know what I mean? Long-suffering, patience. I show you that most of these religious people, religious factors, are taught that in their foundation. But then through their selfish ambitions and the false teachings of their lords, they end up pulling some 9/11 shit. Somebody told them that they were going to get 40 virgins if they go and blow up a whole nation. Who said that? Did they get 40 virgins for blowing up, the Twin Towers? No, they did not. God doesn't give away virgins. We don't sacrifice virgins for man anymore. Does that sound like something God would make? Where in your religion, and I hate to be so condescending, but of all the magic that God gave you, why would he feed your flesh with 40 virgins? Why wouldn't one virgin be enough? Do you understand that that's based on nothing more than pure desire of a man? Obsession? Something that he would, he'll believe this. We could get him to blow up a nation if we think he's going to get 40 pieces of brand new pussy. That's greed. I'm not really sure why you guys thought that. I'm not, I will challenge your religious beliefs later when I get deeper into them, but that's just surface level, that wouldn't be, any god wouldn't create such things. In the essence, the gods themselves were sleeping with virgins. Why would they give them to you? They had to find their own. Come on, guys. Who promised you that? Now, going back to the devil worshippers, I'm like, who are you worshiping? Well, now we know. You put up their picture and do all these weird ceremonies and sacrifices. Nothing more than they've always done. But in the essence, no. And stop that. God has seen your ways. He laughed about it. We all laughed about it as the watchers. And now he wants you to bring your ass home. Quit acting a fool. It's time to come home. I'm here for the fallen. For those that have been, shrouded in darkness, that have never known the light. It's a beautiful light. Jesus is a wonderful, He's a wonderful Savior that was given to this whole world. As dark as I am, you can, He's got a kindness that is unmatchable. Buddha, love him. Love him, love him, love him. And that's what it was too. In my deepest hour, 2 Sundays ago, not this Sunday, the last Sunday, it was Sunday, Buddha came in the morning to come talk to me, to remind me what a good girl was. And that's it too. These aren't bad gods to have. They're great gods to have on your side. But you also have to know the dark side that you're denying, which is another side of God. The New Testament speaks of this merciful God, but that's Jesus. You don't understand. The mercy was Jesus, bro. God she didn't really show much mercy to Jesus. Jesus was the sacrificial lamb for the mercy for you. He was showing you mercy through Jesus. And that's what it is, us that knew the old covenant that was from the time before Jesus, our God was very wrathful. And he wanted penance. And so those of us of the old Orthodox ways, we kept to his, the fear of the Lord stayed with us for all eternity. We weren't going to take the risk of, following a new guy when we'd seen too much of what our God was capable of. And he went after anyone that followed the wrong guy. You know what I mean? Those were the ones he went after, was the false prophets. The ones he's coming for right now. So it was dangerous to do so. But after such time, you realized he was a true God. Maybe I get it. Wait a while. Let's see if this burns off. Let's see if this is real. I don't want to, I don't want to, and that's it too. When I started the beginning of my awakening, I've always had to proclaim who I was to whoever I was told to tell. I always tell everyone who I am. I am Lilith reincarnated. I cannot lie. I will not lie. I cannot pretend to be something I'm not. I must tell you who I am. You are speaking with the Dark Goddess. Anyways, so in the beginning of my adventure, I pick up a very high member of the Mormon Church. He's like, I forgot what he told me he was. It's in my videos. I'll have to go find that video. And I pick him up and I tell him about my awakening. And I tell him, I said, I encourage you to pray to your Lord to ask for, the truth behind my words. And I tell him my story. I tell him that I'm here for the divine awakening. I'm called by God to do this great works. By the time I drop him off, I'm getting out of my car and he said, I prayed as you said, and my God confirmed that you are as you say, and I pray for you on your works, on your mission, or something like that. Ask your God if I'm real, and he'll tell you. The question is, do you know that my God is real? And that I work with all gods? I don't work for them. We work together. I'm doing the work of the gods that, always have. The only difference is now the dark goddesses who refuse to play well with the other gods are now aligned. And that's what I teach you, is to align your ducks and get them in a row so we can swim down this fucking, swim down this fucking river. Ask for forgiveness. Atone for your sins and start working on being a better person is all that he asked. I show you how to go through the works. You have to do it. Will you backslide? Many times people backslide into their old ways. We'll pick you back up. But you can't go on living like this, dude. You need him. Everybody does. I'm here to deliver him personally to the people that rejected him or the idea or thought that he wasn't for them. He's for all of you, bro. He speaks all tongues. I don't even need to know your language, dude. Close your eyes and ask for him and watch him show up. And watch the energy he brings. He'll bring you to straight tears of joy. He'll hold you and make all of this better. That's what he is as a savior, bro. God sent him to make this all better for us. If we accept that he can do it, he will. You've got to give him the power, though. And that's what it means. Is like, going back to witchcraft and stuff, they call in powers because they have no power within them. You have God inside of you. Call on him. Tell him to guide you. All the time. Talk to him. All the time. Stay in devotion. Stay in prayer. Stay with the Spirit of God. If you can't hear him, just stay listening quietly. Keep talking to him. You know what I mean? He hears you. You're not hearing him. It could take you a while to hear his voice again. You've turned a deaf ear to him. You've turned a blind eye to him. He's right there. There's so many, he doesn't have a form. I told you can see Jesus in his form. But God is in all forms. And when you're ready to accept that he's everywhere and he's there for you, then that's where the real magic happens, bro. When you start letting God start working with God. Stop begging him. Start working with him. Start bringing him into your life, having a connection. I shared that in my shorts the other day. It's just me and the Holy Spirit. Me and Kobe and Pop, bro. It's just me. It looks like it's just me walking down and doing everything all by myself. I promise, they're right there with me. All day. Do I talk to them in public? No, and I try not to. I'll look weird. But doesn't mean they're not talking to me and they're not laughing. And as I'm looking at a dress, they're telling me what they think. You know what I mean? You should get it. That'll look nice on you. Or we start laughing at, somebody that walked by, or that looks gross, or, just funny things. It's a connection. If you don't have a connection with the dead, bro, you're going to fucking have a fucked up life here. Because trying to connect with the living is a dead connection to begin with. It's a good reading. It came out all over the place. I want to refer back to this. I'm not a promoter of this book. I just know what it did for me. This book, Reclaim Your Dark Goddess by Flavia K. Peters. It's called The Alchemy of Transformation. It teaches you the level of the dark goddess of your dark feminine feelings, each level of it, and how to go through it. I just turned to Baba Yaga, which is emotional development. This is after going through a huge loss. We spoke of that earlier in the Five of Pentacles, and that's just what comes on a Tower Day. You need to learn how to go through loss. All of these levels teach you. Famanach is where we were, and that was teaching you, I taught you yesterday, how to deal with your guilt, shame, and blame that you put on yourself and on others. All right, next was the Goddess of Hell. And we talked about Sheila Nagig, worrying about, this is a big one, about your sexual traumas, how you've given away yourself, let people desecrate yourself, and how you've desecrated others, meaning your body. We went into Saradwin. We talked about, rebirth, letting things die, and the hope for the new. All of these. Maeve, having that, that bull spirit during Taurus, that warrior spirit, which comes into the Morgan. You know what I mean? Teaching you personal boundaries, reclaiming your sovereignty and taking control. The Khalik, all of this, being able to weather the storms, being able to, have endurance. All of this. This is one of the most important ones, but all of my books, if you wanted to start with some easy oracles that are going to take you through each deep level, I would say start with these. These are the first things I had to start with. The Pure Magic. All right, this is a whole book. They come with oracles, but these are chapters to healing, bro. These are chapters to healing. You can also do it through the Archangel Fire Oracles. Oh, look, we still have one in here. We were connecting with the land. Let me just read you, I'm not going to read you all of them, but I want to read you them just off the top of it. First, they teach you to ground yourself. It's dealing with new beginnings, filling your emotions, stepping up, learning the lunar strength and the solar strength, physical strength, emotional strength, the outer wisdom, the inner wisdom, taking action, having patience, shining your light, embracing your shadow, rest and restore, transforming your life, connecting with the land, setting boundaries, enchanting the everyday, expressing your heart, channeling your anger, honoring your grief, facing your fear, being kind, making choices for yourself, following your dreams, letting the past die, being the true you, the gift of solitude, a time for play, when to seek balance, focusing on friendships, rewilding your life, embodying forgiveness, asking for forgiveness, and releasing your pain. This is all about healing. Everything I teach you is how to heal yourself, guys, and how I did it and how I continue to do it. Every oracle, every book, everything I do is about healing. Healing what? You. I mean, I heal myself, but what's the point of just me being healed? Now look at me. I'm the only healed motherfucker out here. I'm all by myself. That's why I gotta heal somebody else. Otherwise, this is gonna suck. We went through all kinds of greatness. Like, where do we start? Where did we start? Where do we finish? There's no start, there's no finish. It's infinite. We just jump on the wheel, we catch what we can, you get some downloads, you get some healing, you apply it to your life, and we grab some more. You can't really hold on to anything, just, the healing after it's all done. I'm never going to stop giving it to you in all different directions. It's just, some of you just catch it whenever you can. Whenever you're brave enough to make some, to jump in on this. It's real. I'm not teaching you. I'm teaching you way back to heaven, bro. Back to God. Wherever you are in your, religious beliefs, or wherever you are in your spiritual walk, wherever you are in your healing or your awakening. I have a way. They've given me a way to reach all people and get them all back. And that's all I'm trying to do, is get you back to God. You're his people, and he's tasked me with this job for the next 56 years. Yesterday I got real frustrated. I don't know what to tell you. There's always something that can be told. I can always find a new way to try to break through to you guys. But as far as, what comes next, yeah. Pain and suffering for the next 5 months. Pluto retrograde, it's going to be endings. Serious endings, serious towers. Again, I told you, I've been through it over and over. Every time this time comes. Every time this time comes. It came the first time when I started my music, and it came with chaos. Right after that, the same exact time that I was doing that, I got kicked out of my house. Right after that, again, I got kicked out. I had to leave Colorado. Where am I right now? For God's sakes, I'm stable according to it, because I've done all of the work. But if I wouldn't have fucking did it, I'd have to go around the mountain again. I'm still going around the mountain with you, and I will perfect more of my healing. And it's not to say I won't have more challenges, but I've done most of the healing. Meaning I have the emotional and mental capabilities that the rest of this isn't going to be so difficult. Because I already have mastered the process. Now we just continue the marathon. It's coming to terms with the process and learning to ride the wave. The wheel of life is what it is. To go with the ups and downs. You know what I mean? I'm here, There's nothing more than a guide, though. I don't take any responsibility for your life, because it's your life and you're responsible for it. You are God's child, and he is, protecting you, providing for you, and guiding you. But ultimately, you must understand that if he has to choose you and another, it comes down to, the purpose of your lives. I just want you to understand that. All life has purpose, and all lives are equally as important to you, to him. But when we're coming to the end of these times and he has to sort through, and Jesus has to choose between the goats and the sheep, you know what I mean? He wants to eliminate all the negativity. If you choose to stay of a negative spirit, you shall be eliminated. It's proclaimed that way. He will have to eliminate you due to your free spirit and your inability to, you know what I mean, come back home. What does that mean? The same as Adam and Eve, I suppose. You won't be able to walk home with us. I don't know what the full judgment means. Nobody's ever had that much power. We've never really, you know what I mean? It happens, it's done. But Jesus has all that power. And though, you know what I mean, he's all forgiving and merciful, at the end of this story, not so much. It all comes down to it, the heart. He's going to weigh your heart, like we always did. Is it light as a feather? Or is it stiff as a board, meaning it's heavy and it's wicked? It's filled with malice and hurt and pain and suffering. Or do you have a light heart about things? You can let things go. You can be free in the spirit. That your heart isn't, you know what I mean, bound up by hurt and pain. However your heart, you know, what your heart is, if you have a cold heart, you put out a cold heart. And that was the Grinch, you know what I mean? And then on that day, the Grinch's heart grew 3 times. If you won't, you know what I mean? It's pretty simplistic. It's not really a choice. It is your choice to be an asshole. But what choice do you really have? Where is that getting you? It's keeping you unhappy. You're missing opportunities. You're missing friendships. You're missing out on love. Voldemort didn't have any power because he didn't have love. Therefore, he was never going to win. Love always wins. God wins because he has an army of love. What is love? Truth. The definition of love is truth. The truth shall set you free. His love shall set you free. If I tell you the truth, it's going to ruin this relationship. What does that mean? It's going to set you free. Because if you knew the truth, you wouldn't stay here. Right? If you really knew they were cheating on you, you know in your heart, no matter how much you love them, that you can't stay by that. That morally this is wrong and you deserve better. Your heart will force you to walk away once it knows the truth. Riddle me this, assholes. Don't you already know the truth? Are you really waiting for God to come show it to you? Or has he not been showing it to you and you're living a lie? That you don't know you deserve better than this partner. Simple things like that. You know that you don't make enough money. That you hate your job and the people there don't treat you with respect. That you don't have a happy family and that this isn't good enough. You're afraid. But if you trusted God and you left there, he would make it better for you. He wouldn't ask you to leave a shit job to give you a shittier job. He wants better things for you, but it's your fear and your lack of faith that keeps you there. If I ain't got this person, nobody will ever love me. That person doesn't love you. It's that mentality that's keeping you unloved. And for the rest of you that's like, you know, struggling to pay your bills and shit, a roommate wouldn't be a bad thing to have. 2 incomes couldn't hurt. Maybe even have a friend around could be nice. If you could find the right roommate that you could trust. When 2 heads come together as one, you could actually make some friends maybe. If you weren't trying to hold your own kingdom with multiple bedrooms and fucking garages and all this shit. I don't know. There's lots of ways. You just have to accept a different way of living. Jesus was all about a different way, and hope and faith, and putting your pride down, not being so powerful, but letting God have power and dominion over your life, and being guided by that, which is what? Knowing what's right. You know what God really wants for you. You're just afraid to do it. You're afraid. Those things inside your heart, holy moly, that's what I'm like. I know God's voice. It's always pushing you to do the bravest things. And your mind is always like, I cannot do that. You're crazy. Yep. One day, hopefully, your mind will be crazy enough to be as crazy as your heart. And you could be really, powerful. But that's really it. You keep following your mind, you're just following illusions. You start following your heart, you're going to start following dreams, miracles, wonders. But you're going to have to fight your mind. And its fears of telling you you're not worthy, or this can't happen, or even worse, something worse could happen. It's just projections of your mind. You have to faith your way through it. Talk your way through it. Tell your mind a different story. It has a reason it believes that. It's jumped to that conclusion because of what it's seen, the information you've put into it. Put new information in it, which is what? Put a little Jesus in there. That's why they tell you to keep your eye on him. And not just him, you know what I mean? All of them. Like, keep your eye on God. You can't lose your way. I'm not a goddess without God. The only thing that makes me powerful is my obedience. You know what I mean? It's really the truth. Jesus just listened to God. Moses just listened to God. Joseph just listened to God. Isis listened to God. You know what I mean? We listen to God. Callie, all of us, we listen to God. That's what made us powerful. That's what will make you powerful too. Hey, I love you guys. You have a great night. Tomorrow's what? Thursday, Jupiter, a day of expansion and love. That's the best day of the week, guys. It doesn't get no better. Then we got Friday then, which is our that's our trials and tribulations. I think we have that full moon this weekend too. Right? Something like that, the 12th. What's today? 7, 8, it's in like 5 days, so not right away, but we're preparing for it. So that would be, another death, transformation, rebirth, and then we're full of ourselves by the full moon. Ta-da! Keep up with me if you can, or try to keep up with the Kardashians. That's not going to get you anywhere, I assure you of that. I'm trying to get you closer to God. Hey, I love you guys, and I hate you at the same time. Later, haters.